called I Refuse to Be Still, which basically means that I am the kind of person that I do not like to depend on anybody to do anything that I want to do, which means I'm not gonna wait to do something until somebody else can do it with me. If I really wanna do something, I'm gonna do it by myself. And so that means you're either in or in the way, but either way, it's gonna happen with or without you. But it did not happen overnight. It definitely took a few instances in my life that kind of pushed me to be that person. It took meeting other people that were like that to inspire me to want to be like that. And so that's what I'm going to talk to you guys about today, is my story on how I discovered that if I want to experience life fully and do everything that I want to do, I can't wait for anybody else to do it. I cannot put my happiness and my future and my plans in somebody else's hands. That I need to take control, and I need to step up, and I need to put my fears aside and not be afraid to go out in the world on my own. And fortunately, as a woman, it is a lot harder for us to be able to do that. But now, honestly, I don't think it's really 100% safe proof for anybody, because anything could happen to anybody at any given time, no matter how big of a manly man you are. If somebody really wants to take advantage of you, they're gonna do what they have to do it. So unfortunately, that's something we all need to face, that when we do things on our own, it is 100% a possibility for something bad to happen or for somebody to target us. But that's the thing, you need to live life without fear, because if you let your fears take over, then you're not gonna do anything you want. And so honestly, I'm still kind of learning that. I have traveled many places in the US alone, but I still haven't dabbled overseas yet. That I am a little too scared to do. And honestly, it's more so because I have a child to take care of. I have a son that I need to make it home to. And so if something happens to me, he's only 12 years old. And so that's honestly one of my biggest fears, is not to be able to be there for him to raise him. And so that's what's kind of holding me back, because if I didn't have him, I probably wouldn't think twice about it. I would 100% be living on the edge. And like in my last episode, I would be doing everything I wanted to do, and it'd just be complete selfishness, because there's nobody else I have to worry about or worry about coming home to or taking care of. Obviously, my family would be sad if something happened to me too, but I don't have any responsibility. And so I'm thinking, hopefully, maybe once he's older, or he gets to the age where he is able to travel with me overseas, and he's big and manly enough to protect us both if need be, then hopefully he can be my traveling partner and we can explore the world together. And honestly, that's really all I want in life. I'm not looking to be married again. I don't know if I want a committed relationship, but the one thing that I really do know is I just want somebody to be able to travel the world with. That's it. But for some reason, that's even hard to find. And so that's why, instead of waiting for anybody, no matter who it is, my family, my friends, trying to afford to be able to take my son everywhere with me, then some things I just take into my own hands and I just do it on my own. One of the best and most epic experiences that I've ever had in my life, apart from having my child, of course, was actually going to Coachella on my own. I did end up going to Coachella the first year with my sister, which was still obviously so much fun because she's my best friend. But when it comes to music tastes, we kind of don't agree 100% on every single artist and genre. So we definitely had to compromise and pick and choose a set list and itinerary that worked out for the both of us. But she did try to blame me still for missing one of her favorite artists that had the guest appearance with Zendaya. Because I was old and tired and lazy and did not want to walk all the way to where they were performing when the next artist we wanted to see was going to be at the same stage that we had already seen another one at. So we would have just been able to stay there back to back instead of coming somewhere else and then running back over there. So, you know, sometimes when you go with other people, it just doesn't always work out the way you want it. And so the second year, I did invite her again. I did reach out to people, see if anybody wanted to come with me. Nobody wanted to go. Nobody could afford it. So guess what? I was like, well, I'm going with or without anybody because this lineup was so epic. I still didn't even get to see everybody I wanted to. I still had to compromise and pick and choose based off where the stages were located on what was going to fit for my itinerary on who I was able to see. And so the good thing about that is I was in charge. I was 100% able to choose exactly what it was. So it was all about me. I didn't have to compromise. I didn't have to take anybody else into consideration. And so I got to hop around and do whatever I wanted and go to whatever stage I wanted and see whatever artist I wanted. And just dancing and vibing and meeting new people and even just being alone at some. It just felt so amazing and so good. And just being able to pick up and go and do whatever I want whenever I wanted and not have to worry about anybody was so nice too. And so that was literally the most epic experience of my life. I wish I could live that multiple times over because it was just so amazing. And so I'm that person. I will go to a concert or a music festival or anything on my own if I really want to do it or see it. I went to Brent Faiyaz on my own in Vegas at the Chelsea, and I was very, very close to him. I probably could have touched him if I really wanted to. That was awesome. That was amazing. I ended up being at Miguel on my own at the Ogden, which is also a very small, intimate venue, and was within the same distance from him. And so I would have never had any of these beautiful, amazing, epic experiences if I was afraid to be alone and go by myself. I'll even go to the movies on my own or the drive-in on my own if there's something that I want to see that nobody else does. Like if I want something, I'm going to do it no matter what. That's just how I have grown to be. And there were, like I said, certain people that I met that inspired me to want to be like that as well. One of them is one of my best friends. I call him my BGF, which is best guy friend. A lot of people mistake it for gay friend. I have lots of those too, but he's my best guy friend because we're literally the same person. We're like a mirror image of each other. I guess twin flames. Like he's a male version of me when it comes to like everything on our perspectives and outlooks on life. He's one of the ones that I turn to for advice because I trust and I know that he is a very real, raw, genuine person. He doesn't step on eggshells. He doesn't sugarcoat. He gives it to you exactly like it is. And that's how I am. So I love and appreciate that about him. And I'm hoping he'll be on one of my episodes once I start interviewing people. But
he's my best friend.
He's my best friend. He's my pal. He's my homeboy, my rotten soldier. He's my sweet cheese, my good time boy.
And he was the type that he was the same way. If he wanted to do something, if he wanted to go somewhere, eat somewhere, watch a movie, he would do it by himself, and he didn't wait for anybody else. He actually even sometimes preferred to be by himself, because we seen him at Torres eating alone one time, and it was me and my family, and we're like, come eat with us, you can sit with us. He's like, no, I'm good. And that's okay. Like, we ruined his, time alone. And so he told us, like, no, this is my time alone. We can conversate from across the tables, but I'm staying here. And then another person that I met, he is from the East Coast. He ended up living multiple places alone, not knowing anybody, not a single soul, nobody from his family, anything, were in these states that he lived in. So he lived in Arizona for a little bit, and then I met him when he moved to Denver. And he was the kind of person that if he wanted to go and have a drink and watch a game or do something or go to a game or go to an event, he would do it. He didn't know anybody. He didn't have any friends. He didn't have any family. So he really didn't have a choice. If he wanted to live life and do the things that he wanted to do, he had to do them on his own. And he is a Capricorn like me as well. And so he is a little different from me because I am not outgoing and I really get to know people. He is outgoing in the fact that he will go out of his way to talk to new people and make new friends. And so I know he has been having a lot of awesome experiences with that. He travels alone. He goes to different states alone, and he enjoys that. So I'm thinking maybe that might be a Cap thing, that we enjoy our solitude. It's very calm and peaceful to us, and it's literally a necessity for us. But those are the two people in my life that inspired me to not be afraid, to want to do things on my own and experience things on my own. And so if it wasn't for them and everything that I kind of got forced into experiencing on my own, who's to say that I would have ever even tried it? I might have been too afraid. I might have let my fears take over. But now each year that I get older, I realize, like in my midlife awakening, that I don't have forever to do everything I want to. So I better take advantage of the time that I have now. So I try to go on a solocation once a month, whether it's big or small. And if it's small, then I'll just have like a day spa day or a hot spring day or a little adventure day where I'm going on a hike and visiting a new waterfall or new place or scenery that's beautiful. Those are the things that make life worth living for me, is when I'm in that quiet, that calm, that peace, that solitude, the nature. And when I'm alone, it's like the most freeing, most liberating, most beautiful experiences of my life. And it's when I feel the most blessed and the most prosperous. And I just am so grateful that I get to live that abundant life. And I pray that I can keep living that life, like I said before. And so I'm going to tell you how it all started. And the first time that I ever had to travel alone was when I graduated in high school. My mom sent me to California for a few weeks to stay with my cousins. And so that was the first time being on a plane on my own and getting from point A to point B. And so that was just kind of dipping my toe in the water, being comfortable enough, not worrying about who's sitting next to me on the plane, and just getting where I had to. And it was so much fun going there and spending time with them. And my cousin had to work, and so it's not like she was available for me every day to be able to do something with me. And so I kind of just made my own friends and my own plans and did what I had to do to keep myself entertained. I didn't depend on her to entertain me. And so that was my first little dipping my toe in the water. The second that was a little bigger was probably going to Texas. I think it was Fort Worth, Dallas on my own for a work trip. And honestly, that was not a good time at all. It was a complete shit show from beginning to end. It was probably, I mean, not, I've had some experiences, but not one of the best traveling experiences that I've had. So I can do a whole other episode on my traveling experiences of misfortunate events, but I won't waste anybody's time with that. But when I got there, my cab driver had no idea where he was going. And I think during that time, I don't think we had smartphones to tell us where to go, or cars or vehicles that had navigation systems in them. And so
if you didn't know where you were going,
you literally didn't know where you were going.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No! No!
And so I had to like print out, I don't
know. Honestly, I don't know how we got there, but
we got to my hotel, but he almost killed us because he was a crazy driver. He was in the far left lane trying to get to the far right lane, going off the highway into the median almost. And so by the time I got to the hotel, I was livid. I was like, that was literally the worst driving experience I ever had in my life, sir. And he wanted me to pay him $80. And I was like, you almost murdered me. That's the first time I kind of became a Karen, because I called the cab company.
I'm gonna have BF.
Wait, hey, what's a BF?
She's gonna have a bitch fit. You better get out of here. I am gonna call your boss.
Come on, you don't have to do that.
No, I am gonna call the owner of the company.
Come on, just take it easy. Look, we can work this out.
No. I'm gonna write a letter.
No.
I was like, this man almost killed us. He didn't know where we were going, and you expect me to pay this guy?
Well, he got lucky because I did not pay him. My
agency paid him instead.
because I was not paying out of pocket for that experience. And the hotel wasn't bad. It was okay. But I was literally in the middle of nowhere. The closest thing to me at my hotel was, thank God, they had a little shopping center. So I was at least able to go to Olive Garden for dinner by myself. But where my training was for work was in a completely industrial area that there was nowhere to go to eat.
And you know what else? We're in the middle of nowhere!
And so I started walking, not knowing that there was nothing around, in like 80 to 90 degrees humidity. If you guys ever been to Texas in the summer, you know it's not a good time. So thank God I had somebody from my class that recognized me and pulled over and was like,
oh, honey, where do you think you're going? Because there's nowhere near that you can walk to get some food. She's like, come with me. I will take us to go eat.
And so thank God for that. So Southern hospitality is a true thing, 100%. Every time I've been to Texas, I have met the sweetest, kindest, coolest, dopest, more than willing and giving people. So thank God for that. Because if you guys know, all my Texas trips for some reason have been complete shit shows, but I end up surviving, I end up being okay, and I end up sometimes even having fun and meeting cool new people. And so that experience turned me off a little bit. But with work, I didn't have a choice on whether or not I got to travel. They chose for me. If I wanted to get paid to do my job, then that's what I had to do. And so my second work trip was so much better. It was to DC. And that's when I actually did physically venture out on my own, because everybody was from there, they lived there, they have already seen everything. But for me, that was my very first time, my very first experience being there, and I did not want it to go to waste. And so I took it upon myself to schedule myself a tour, like a night tour on the bus. And at this time, it was kind of during Christmas. And so they were doing the lighting of the tree at the White House. So all the Christmas lights were out, and Grand Central Station was all done up. And so I really wanted to take advantage of that. And so instead of depending on all these other people for somebody to go with me, I scheduled my own venture or night out. And so I ended up going to most of all the monuments. I did end up going to the White House and seeing the tree. I did go to Grand Central Station, and I did have a really strong itch to jump on the train and go to New York because it was literally only 2 hours away on the train. And I was like, how early do I have to get up tomorrow for training? Do I have time? And it was kind of late. It was like 7 or 8 at night. And so I was like, oh yeah, I don't know if I should do a 4-hour trip and then still try to do a whole day of work. And so I didn't end up doing it, but if I ended up having a late day or a late flight, I would 100% have jumped on that train and took it myself to New York and had my own little New York adventure. A few years later, after my DC trip, then I did decide to take a solo trip to New York as well. And I guess it wasn't a complete solocation because I did end up going to stay with a friend there. And so I had somebody, but it was the same thing, traveling from and to there, getting to where I needed to be, trying to find where he was, all that kind of stuff I was able to do on my own and be confident about it and not be afraid about it. And what's so funny is he kind of lived like in Chinatown. So like that's kind of the hood in New York. And so I got there with my big ass suitcase, trying to, you know, show that I was confident and not show anybody that I was lost and had no idea where I was, and that I lived, like I tried to blend in like I lived there, and people really truly believed it because of that. And what was so funny is my friend was like, I think you would survive out here with no problem because you're just like everybody here. You're super fast paced. You're like, get out of my way. I'm pushing through. You're either moving or I'm running your ass over. I'm not going to be polite and kind and say, excuse me to 50 million people if they're not willing to move. Like, I'm not rude either. I will say, excuse me, but if you don't move, I'm going through with or without your permission. So it's like, move it or lose it.
Move, bitch, get out the way. Get out the way, bitch, get out the way.
But I'm coming through. And so I kind of took his hand and kind of navigated us through the city, because this was during Christmas time and New Year's as well. And what really, really sucked so bad about that trip is I ended up getting roofied, like,
What?
like maybe the first or second night that I was there. I was deathly ill. I literally thought I was gonna die. It was the worst experience. That was probably one of the worst experiences of my life, was being that sick on a vacation that I was looking forward to. And so I ended up wasting a whole entire day not being able to do anything because I was in bed sick the whole entire time. And so I was not able to go to the Statue of Liberty like I had wanted to or planned to that day. And then I did originally to wait in Times Square and be one of those people that got to experience that. But then when I heard on what you actually have to go through to do that, I was like, maybe not.
I don't think wearing a diaper and soiling myself for like 8 hours in the freezing cold
would not be a good time to me. So to me, that was not worth it. Obviously, to some people, that's a once in a lifetime experience and they're going to do what they got to do. His roommate and his friend was one of them. So more power to them, respect to them, because it is not my bougie ass. You guys know me. I need to be warm. I need to be comfortable. There needs to be a working toilet near. I'm not going in an outhouse. I'm a Barbie girl in the Barbie world. Like, unless that's my only choice, but supposedly they don't have anything, and that wouldn't even been a choice. So if I am ever going to experience New York and Times Square like that with the ball drop and the countdown, I am going to have to be one of those people that pay a lot of money to be able to go whenever I want, have my own seating area, maybe even just, you know, get a hotel that's very close that we can go outside and experience it, because I am not doing that. That's the thing. You get to choose. You're in charge. You get to say what's worth it and what's not worth it, and what you want to do and what you're willing to do to experience the things that you want to. And so unfortunately, that bucket list item kind of went a little down the list. I still have not experienced it yet, but like I said, it's not until I have a lot of money to be able to experience the way that I want to. My next solocation that I had was completely unplanned. My sister and I were supposed to go to Nashville for her 22nd birthday to celebrate out there. And it was the same year that she was trying to graduate. And so she was trying to graduate a semester earlier than normal. And in order to do that, she needed to be 100% dedicated to school, and she had already missed too much. And so if she wanted to graduate on time like she planned, then unfortunately she wasn't able to do the trip. But I had already paid for it. I did not buy travel insurance, and it was a pretty penny. It was at least a G or more. And so that I was not throwing away that money. I went without her. And I had already experienced Nashville, the party scene. And so I kind of wanted to experience something that I didn't while being there. And so I ended up renting a car. And to me, 3 to 5 hours is not a big drive. 5 hours is definitely my max. But to and from, like one way, I can do 3 hours and do 3 hours back. Like that's not a big deal to me. And so I ended up going to Memphis, and I ended up going to Graceland, and I ended up to see everything that I wanted to. And it was just such an amazing, beautiful, heartfelt experience. And it was just so much more than I ever expected. Unfortunately, it was freezing and I did not pack for that. I did not know Nashville got cold in the winter. So I had no coat. I had these little skinny jeans on with this like silk kind of like long sleeve top, and that's it. When I went to Memphis, everybody was dressed like they were going snowboarding. They had parkas with like snow pants on, because they're not used to that cold either, apparently. And everybody knew I definitely wasn't from there, because they were like,
"What are you wearing? Aren't you freezing?" And I'm like,
I'm from Colorado. I don't get cold.
I was freezing my ass off. But I
can't believe I did that. I am so stupid. I don't know what I was thinking.
try to be tough. I try to act like I was good. But I survived. I still got to see everything I wanted to, do everything I wanted to do. And then I ended up doing another day trip the next day, because I was there for 2 days total, apart from my 2 traveling days. I ended up scheduling some tours to see some other scenic, beautiful places that I've always wanted to, which was Ruby Falls. And I really can't remember what it's called, but it was like a cavern. I know it was called like the Underground Sea or something like that. And so those were amazing, beautiful experiences that I had on my own. With that experience and doing kind of like a road trip on my own, that made me want to do it more often. And so I started to. That's when the once a month solocations kind of came about, was from that whole experience. And I like to say that I am on my Ariana Grande 7-ring shit, because it's like, if I want it, I got it. I want it, I got it.
I see it, I like it, I want it, I got it.
And so that's what I do. If I want something, then I'm going to do what I got to do to get it. That's just how I am, and I love it so much. One of my favorite quotes is from Cher, and she said that when she was young, her mom told her that she was going to grow up and marry a rich man. And so then when Cher grew up and became successful, she went back to her mom and she said, "No, I'm my own rich man.
You should settle down and marry a rich man. And I said, Mom, I am a rich man. You know?
So I just love that. And that's how I feel. I'm never going to depend on anybody to do the things I want to do and get the things that I want. I'm going to do what I got to do and hustle to buy and to be able to afford the life that I want. And when looking for a partner, if you can't do more for me than I can do for me, or at least match me, you know, put in the same energy, effort, then you just serve no purpose. And like I said before, you're either in or in the way. Either way, it's going to happen with or without you. And I can do that because that's the kind of life that I've been living. And I will always refuse to be still. I am not waiting for anybody to do things that I want to do. And so I hope you guys took that into consideration for yourself, that hopefully you can break free and be able to be comfortable enough to step out of your comfort zone and not be afraid to live the life that you want without depending on anybody else to do it. So make sure you guys like, subscribe, share, and comment. And if you want to be a part of the content I create and the decision making and that kind of stuff, then add me on Instagram. I will post that information so you can, because I do polls there every so often, because this experience is not just about me, it's about you guys too. And I want you to be entertained. I want you to get something from this. I want you to truly enjoy it. And so add me so you can put in your opinions, and you can always comment and let me know as well. Thank you. You're welcome.